All right, I'm going to talk to you about sharps, blades, and utility blades. When you get one of these signed out to you, it is for you. It is not for anyone else. You do not give it to a friend. You do not give it to anyone else to use just for a second. It uses for you, and you give it back to the teacher when you're done. They have to sign out their own. When you are not using the blades, they have to be retracted. Even if you're putting it down just for a second, that's no good. Not acceptable. It gets taken away. You need to retract the blade every time it gets set down on the table, no matter what type of blade that you're using. When you first get your blade, you're going to inspect it. You're going to see that if the blade has any nicks or dings, or if it's used up too much, you're going to ask the teacher to replace the blade if you need. I want you to remember, see that filleted edge, that shiny edge? That is the part of the blade that cuts. The back does not cut at all. It's the shiny part that cuts. Make sure that's angled down when you're cutting. Make sure that you have a self-healing mat. We never cut on surfaces. We never cut on our tables. If you don't have a self-healing mat, your teacher's going to give you a spoil board. When you are cutting, you are going to use medium pressure passes. If you look at my blade right now, it's at a 45-degree angle. I'm not down here. I'm not up here. I'm not trying to cut into the blade. I'm not trying to cut away. You're going to use medium pressure passes. It may take 2 or 3. If you want the best cut, you're going to use medium pressure passes. If you try to cut this all in one shot, you're going to get a ragged cut. Make sure that your fingers, your body is not in the path of the blade. If you notice, I'm cutting away from my body. I'm not cutting towards my body. I don't have my fingers holding down here that would get in the way of the blade. Stay out of the path of the blade. And that's it. All right, I'm going to talk to you about hand tools. When you're working in the wood shop, you always wear safety glasses. Even if there's one person using a tool, you're going to wear safety glasses so you don't ruin your eyes. When you're using hand tools, you're always going to fixture. You're always going to clamp down your work. There is no such thing as just holding it and using a tool at the same time. You're always clamping down to the table or you're putting it into a vise. Tools and cut direction. These are rasps. These remove material. They only work in one direction. They only work going forward. If you try to go backwards, you're not removing any material going backwards. It only cuts going forward. This is a coping saw. You can change the blade to go in either direction, but again, it only cuts in one direction. In this case, this only cuts going backwards. This is miter saw. This cuts in 2 directions. This cuts going back and forward. Always start with the pole. Always start with the pole. When you're using a rasp, it's really important that you hold the opposite edge. You can either hold it like this, or I usually put 2 fingers on the end. So we start with going forward, and I lift up. You're using the full length of the blade. You're not going like this. This doesn't do anything. You're using the full length of the blade to shape the material. If you do not have a vise, you're always going to use a grip. All right, when you use these clamps, if you use the clamp like this and you go down, or your neighbor goes down to get a screw, you are impaling your face. You're going to take a big chunk of flesh out of your head. Instead, you're always going to put it with the sharp part face down. This is the part that lets you go really quick, and this is the pull that gets a little bit at a time. So I'm going to go really quick, and then I'm going to tighten it. This way, if someone bends down, they're not going to hit their face and remove a big chunk of flesh. These are hot glue guns. You will always treat this tip as if it's hot. It's off right now. I'm not going to touch the tip because I'm treating it as if it was hot. That's how you get yourself burned. You don't know who unplugged it. You don't know how long it's been plugged in. You will never leave it laid down on the side. 2 things. 1, it's going to drip and ruin the table. 2, it's going to ruin the inside of the parts. You're always going to have it on the foot, or you're going to put it in the stand. You're never going to lay it on the side of the table. You're always going to have something underneath. You're not going to put this directly on the table. That's how you ruin tables. It's hot glue. If it is clogged, this one's clogged, you're going to go to a teacher, you're going to ask for help. You're going to ask them to take care of it or give you a new one. You're not going to take care of it yourself. And last one, never touch the molten glue. It is hot. It will rip off your skin. You will be bleeding. Never touch the molten glue. That's it.